We welcome you one, we welcome you all. We say a big thank you to you for joining us. Those outside our Oma community, our esteemed parents, we want to say thank you. These forum has come to stay as an annual event. We had two editions, one 2002, 2022, sorry, then 2021. They were very impactful and insightful. We'll believe that this is not going to be an exception by God's grace. So we welcome you all to this third edition of Parent Empowerment Forum. Thank you. Let's keep our comments coming in the chat box where you are joining us from, your name, so that we'll be able to acknowledge you as much as possible. Thank you so much. You introduce yourself, you tell us where you are joining us from. Yeah, and in order to have a seamless experience today, please let us pay attention to the following ground rules as we continue with the introduction of ourselves and where we are joining from. Okay, the ground rule is displayed on the screen. So I'll just read out so that we'll be on the same page. 1, all speakers should be on mute, please, except when you want to talk or you have something to say and you are permitted so to do. Then you can unmute when prompted to speak, just as I've said. Then to ask a question, contribute, please raise your hand. I believe everyone is familiar with that. Then comments can also be shared or dropped in the chat box so that the moderator can pick it up and read it out for answers. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you so much. So we'll go into the program fully and we'll be starting with an opening prayer. I want to believe every one of us is led by the Spirit. So I just want someone to help us with opening prayer, a short opening prayer, so that we'll start the program fully. Can I have a volunteer, please?
Okay, maybe I'll just pray then. Father, we thank you for today. We give you glory and praise. Thank you for the opportunity to come together as parents to learn, oh Lord, to receive information that will help us in this parenting assignment. We ask, oh Lord, that you will take absolute control of all that we'll learn today. We pray that you will anoint our speaker and everything shall go on well to your glory and praise. Thank you, Father, for in Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Ma. Let's keep the comments coming. Introduction of ourselves. Okay. And where we are joining from so that we'll be able to acknowledge. So so that we don't waste time, we would like to welcome us once again, our esteemed parents, those that are joining us from even outside the Oma community, well-wishers, our friends. We thank you so much. We thank you, our parents, for being a part of this. And of course, we can't mention names one after the other. We just want to say thank you. We appreciate you for coming. And we would like to appreciate our PT Parent-Teacher Forum Chairman, Dr. Olubusayo Modupe, the Director of SKIMS, UniMed, that's University of Medical Sciences, Ondo City in Ondo State. We appreciate you, sir. We'd like to appreciate also Dr. Babalola Ojetunde, the principal of All Marks Secondary School, Ondo. And of course, we'd like to appreciate the Executive Director of All Marks Secondary School, Ondo, Mrs. Omokorede Fashoro. So to everyone who has joined us, we'll say a big thank you. We appreciate you. We do not take your participation and presence for granted. May God help us as we go on with the meeting in Jesus' name. Okay, so without much ado, I would like to bring the principal of All Marks Secondary School, to give us a welcome charge, and to share the vision of the parent teachers, parent empowerment forum that has come to see as an annual event. Please make welcome Dr. Babalola Ojetunde, the principal of Hallmark Secondary School, Ondo.
Good afternoon, dear esteemed parents, our guest speaker of today, and our executive director here present, and all other participants, both within and outside Hallmark community. We welcome you to this third edition of this Parents Forum, where we share pressing issues and we rub minds together and we channel the way forward. Thank you for your presence, and I pray that the Lord will continue to strengthen every one of us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Yes. Once again, my name is Dr. Babalola Ojetunde, the principal of Hallmark Secondary School here in Ondo. The vision of this glorious program was that some few years back is to create an avenue where issues trending in the society and which has the potential to negatively affect our children, and as parents, we want to be abreast with all the trending issues and provide solutions as discussed by our seasoned professionals and guest speaker today. I've interacted with Dr. Dokun Adedeji. I've listened to you some of your programs online. A few days ago, I listened to you on TVC News, very impacting, and we cannot but listen to you today, and we know God has prepared you for a day like this. Thank you very much. We appreciate everyone here present. I pray that we have a very nice time together at the end of the day. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate the principal. Thank you, sir. I must say that it was a deliberate one not to have mentioned the guest speaker, because it's going to be a special introduction to the gathering here. Of course, the executive director will do that. So it's not, I didn't make a mistake by not mentioning your name, sir. So I would like to welcome at this point the executive director of Hallmark Secondary School, Mrs. Fashoro Omokorede, to do the introduction of the guest speaker.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to look for my face so that I can put on my camera. Okay, I think, yeah, I hope you can see me now. So good afternoon once again, dear parents. Thank you, Miss Alabi, for the great job. Well done. And also our principal. Only, sir, we're eager to see your face. We didn't see our principal's face. Maybe before the end, it will show us. Please, can we mute? There are people, there's some background. Maybe the co-host can help with the muting. Okay, so Ms. Alabi will be reading the profile of our speaker later on, but I just wanted to say one or two things, about Dr. Dokun Adedeji. He's someone that I have known for, I'm sure it should be close to over 25 years now. Now, something that I find very striking about him, many years ago, when we were in a parish called Ladikoluwole of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, we were workers, but there was something about him. He was a worker with a difference, because he had this very unusual ministry, which is I believe he's going to talk about that, the Christ Against. It wasn't called then that. I can't remember what the name used to be, but it was a ministry to people, people that had issues with drug, a ministry against drug abuse. And some of us, felt such an unusual ministry. Some of us will follow the right path, or maybe Sunday school and so on, so to become pastors. But this man chose this unique ministry. And to the glory of God, he's been so consistent with this assignment of, standing against the issue of drug abuse. He was a former, pioneer director general, even the visionary of the Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministry. And they've done a great job all across the nation. And it was just did I even speak with him on phone? It was just a short interaction online. Sir, we have this program. Would you like to speak? Without any fanfare, he just agreed. So I really appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much for accepting to be with us even at short notice. So Ms. Alabi, can you please read his profile for us? It's just on the screen, or maybe if you have it, let's have his profile. You need to unmute, Ms. Alabi, so that you can read the profile. You have to unmute. Okay, maybe I will go ahead and read it. Dokun Adedeji, former Director General of Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministry, popularly called CADAM, a faith-based NGO that caters to the treatment and rehabilitation of drug addicts, is a medical doctor, a prolific writer and poet, a transformational public speaker, and a deeply committed and passionate Nigerian with a heart for touching lives. He has an uncanny understanding of the workings of the human mind. Trained at the prestigious University of Ife, now called Obafemi Awolowo University, as a medical director, his work experience traverses diverse sectors of the national economy in equally diverse and sometimes intricate positions. He was a senior medical officer with First Foundation Center in Lagos before joining Cadbury, Nigeria PLC, first as company medical advisor, and later he became the award-winning head of HR department of Cadbury Nigeria until he voluntarily retired in 2010. He was former consultant to the federal government SureP program. Dr. Adedeji consults for corporate bodies and organizations in the medical and human resources fields. Dr. Adedeji's position for humanity is revealed in his numerous not-for-profit services to various segments of the societies less privileged. In 2002, he won the Global Chairman's Award for Employee Community Involvement in recognition of his efforts as the coordinator of CADAM. He was also nominated as one of the torchbearers of the Queen's Baton during the Commonwealth Games in Manchester, United Kingdom. He was also nominated alongside CADAM for United Nations Award. He has served as a national coordinator for this NGO for about 15 years. He's also the coordinator of Laughter for the Lonely, an NGO that caters for the interests of widows, widowers, orphans, the motherless, and fatherless. They sponsor a radio program on Radio Continental 102.3 FM every Tuesday night from 9:30, where all issues related to the status of these people and their challenges are highlighted and addressed. Dokun is a prolific writer. He's a joint columnist with Dr. Olaokun Soyinka for This Day newspaper. He contributes articles and comments to magazines, current affairs, and professional, and he has published literary works to his credit. He's a contributor to the book of poetry, Poets at Work, a collection of poems, Crossroads, to mark the birthday of Christopher Okigbo. In 2008, he went on to write and publish his book of poetry, Mind Trials. He has 2 other books under consideration for publication. He's a member of Ikoyi Club 1938. He's married to Olufola Kemi, and they have a lovely daughter, Anu Oluwakiitan. Lovely. He's an avid footballer, a Manchester United fan, and was a member of his school football team. He's a motivational speaker and has been invited to many functions to deliver keynote addresses on a variety of topics. He actively mentors several young men and women, and is a committed philanthropist. He used the forum of his book launch, Mind Trials, to raise funds for the education of a physically challenged but talented young lady. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that we have a really solid person in the person of Dr. Dokun Adedeji to talk on the topic today, the ills of drug abuse and what we need to know as parents. We need to be properly informed. Over to you, Doctor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for the generous introduction. I appreciate. I thank you. You know, I am a simple man. I just like my life simple and the rest of it. But I thank you very much for having invited me for this important program of your school. And I must commend you for one thing, that your school has recognized the need to inform parents, to educate parents, not only parents, but also the school generally, to have an understanding of the reality that faces us. We're in very perilous times, particularly about this matter. And I'm glad that we've known each other in ACME for a long time. And it's not that I'm bragging. If people had listened over 30 years ago when we began this crusade, probably we'd be in a better place today. But I dare say to you that we're in very terrible condition with drugs. I'm not saying this to frighten us. I'm just telling us the reality and also encouraging us that from today we can make a difference. All hope is not lost. So I want us to listen. And when the time for questions come, I would like to take the questions as well. But let me start with some staggering statistics. And I'm glad that I'm talking to parents. Honestly, there is no better time to do this than today. And also no better time for a school to get exposed to the reality of what is happening today. We can no more hide like ostrich, hide our head in the sand and expose our backs and say there's no problem. There is a problem. And the problem is getting worse by the day. But that is just as a matter of preamble. I don't want you to feel too concerned, not to listen to what we can do. In 2017, the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime, they did a global survey just to know the prevalence rate of drug use across the world. And the result was published in 2018. And I'm giving you the result of 2018, but I can tell you that today it is much worse. In 2018, it was found that the global prevalence rate of drug use was 5.6%. The Nigerian zone was 14.4%, which was almost triple of global average. So we can begin to, and that translates to about 15 million people who had used drugs the previous year. And for you to know that this is a conservative estimate, I'm sure many of you were not surveyed. So you can then imagine what it will mean if all of us were surveyed and then we were taken into consideration. And the survey covered 15 to 64 age range. But the challenge today, what bothers me in particular today, is that the age of use is coming down. I have been in places, schools have called me, where they have brought 8, 10-year-old to our center to help them. I was invited to Bomoshaw last year to come and help them with the rehab center. And they brought some young kids to me, 2 of them. I still have the pictures on my phone. They were 10-year-old. They're doing drugs. And they said there are many. They meet weekends, they go to play, and then that's when they use. They use in school. They were in their school uniform when they were brought to me. It was also found that out of 4 drug users, 1 is a female. So what am I saying, or what should be the reality? This is not something peculiar to men alone. Today, I can tell you from experience that many more girls probably use it more than boys. But I'll come to this later so that we all know. And you know the thing that should worry us, the fact that the preponderance of use was found between the ages of 25 and 39. And if you then look in your mind what that age signifies, that is the economic base of any nation, a productive sector of any nation. Which means that if these people are all in drugs, you can imagine what it foretells for the future of our country. And that's why we need to begin to do something today, not yesterday, not before now, right now. And they found that the drug prevalence, Nigerians use drugs, we like to profile. Oh, we say the Northerners use drugs a lot more. Oh, it is not true. From the survey done, from the figures of the surveys done, they found that the highest rate of use in Nigeria geopolitical zone was in the Southwest. This was 22.4%. And then to now break it down, they now found that, let me just tell you in the breakdown of the geopolitical zone, Southwest 22.4, South-South 16.6%, Southeast 13.8%, Northeast 13.6%, North Central 12%, North Central and himself, okay? And then North Central was something, North Central speaks to Abuja, Nasarawa, or the central area. So we must begin to know. But they now found that within the Southwest, the highest rate of drug use was in Lagos State, 33%. If you then begin to look at the population of Lagos State, which let's say is 25 million, and then they say 33% of those people use drug, begin to calculate. The population will probably be more than the population of Togo. I want us to look at the figures so that we can begin to extrapolate. If we say 14, 15, when Mr. Storr, who is the director of the Notices, spoke in 2020, he said the population of drug usage had gone to about 20, 25 million. If you then look at 25 million of that population, Nigeria's population is 200 million in the conservative. 25 million of those people are reputed to be using drugs. You must know what that means. So I am saying this not to scare us, but to show us the statistics. The thing that worries me whenever I go to the drug joint, because I can say to you that there's no area of this country that drug is. No area. I don't care where you live. You may live in highbrow, you may live in states. And then
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Doctor. Please, can we all mute? Please, can we all mute? And the co-host, please help us to mute. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. Do you know what also should worry us as parents? There is no university in this country that does not have a drug problem, particularly the Christian universities, the faith-based universities. The drug usage rate is extreme. One of the students told me that we rehabilitated. He said in their school, which is a Christian university, I won't mention the names here. He said if you take 10 students at random, boys and girls, at least 7 will be positive. But I'll come to that later because I want us to just have a background of the enormity of the problem that we face. One of my pastors, the man who started this with Pastor Demi, said to me that God said to him that if in 5 years' time we continue at this rate, people will not be able to stroll out of their houses because most of the people that you meet will be stoned and they will do anything. Anyway, when I come to some of these things, now let me come to the types of drugs that are commonly used in Nigeria. And what I have tried to do when I was in CADAM was to categorize into situations in which you can understand that is simple and that you can understand. The first one is called socially acceptable. I hope we are listening to that. Socially acceptable. Let me say this first. As today, people call it drug abuse, but we don't call it drug abuse anymore. We call it substance abuse. And by the time I finish, you will understand why we now call it substance abuse. Because there are certain things that we mentioned to you that are not drugs, but that people are using as substance of abuse. Now, the socially acceptable drugs, alcohol is number one. Alcohol is the most dangerous drug in the world. There is no part of the body that alcohol does not affect. But you know why we should worry? There is no government on earth that will ban the use of alcohol for the economic benefits that it brings to the economy. So that's the danger we face. For some of you say alcohol, I don't know whether many of you have had something called Alomo bitters or Adonko or some of these sachet drinks. Please, if you see any of these sachet drinks on the floor, pick it up and read the label. You'll be shocked at the content of alcohol in it. Alomo bitters that they call bitters, The alcohol content is 42%. Alcohol bitters. The same thing with action bitters. Action bitters have 40%. I'm mentioning these things, people may say I'm mentioning brand, but parents must know. So that when you see people in parties using it, throwing it around, or workers around your house, your gardeners, your neighbors, that is what they use to shack up. And when they use that, sometimes they use to step down and to take other things. Now, the other one is cigarette. We all know the dangers of cigarette. And then the second one is illicit drugs. That is the one we know, illegal drugs. The major one that we know, which about 11 million Nigerians of the 14 that I mentioned before take casually, is cannabis. They call it cannabis, they call it marijuana, they call it ganja, they call it all kinds of names. Amongst young people, they call it L4, they call it Eja. So that when, you know, they mention this, so that when they say in the midst of people, you don't know what they want to do, Eja. It may not just be fish, it's not just vegetable. It is marijuana. But you know the danger today that I want to mention to us. There are all kinds of marijuana variety in the market. The natural marijuana is cannabis sativa. And then the other marijuana that is now common amongst young people is the synthetic marijuana. I'm sure you have something about Colos, Colorado, Arizona, Canadian Loud. Can you imagine the names they're giving to those things? Funky names. And that is what today people take. If you see somebody who's taking Colorado, the only way you know is the docility. They'll be moving like robots. They can't stand straight, they'll be slurring their words. If Arizona, they go almost like the sect. But you know the danger of this synthetic marijuana is this. The Colorado, Arizona, Canadian Loud, the cannabis content is about 10, 11%. The rest of it is made up of chemicals and herbs. That's why some of them take it, they never return to normal. Some of them end up either dead, some of them end up in psychiatric hospitals and never to become normal again. That is the danger. And you know, because they have chemicals and herbs, they destroy the brain. They destroy the vital organs. So we must begin to understand the dangers they face. That is about marijuana. There's something they call skunk. Skunk, they call it SK on the street. They tell young people, they say, oh, it's marijuana. It is not true. It also has marijuana in it. Then it has dry leaves of pawpaw. Then it has cocaine in it. So that's why they call it skunk. It's a bit more expensive than ordinary marijuana. And then there's heroin, which you all know. There's cocaine, which you all know. There's one now that is very common called methyl crystal meth, amphetamines. That is what they call on the street ice. For those who are Igbos, that's what they call miri. It's so common today that is on the street. And truly when you see it, it looks like ice. That's why they call it ice. Anybody who takes ice, they will feel so restless. They can't sleep for 3 days. They won't even feel like eating, but they'll be very active. They'll just be moving around. And that is what many artisans use, or students, because it energizes them. They can't see, they say they want to read, but there's no assimilation that can take place in that process. And there's no good productive work that can happen in that process. The danger in amphetamine, it destroys the brain. And all these drugs do those things. But you know what I want to tell us parents and school? Please never tell you, don't take marijuana, you go mad. It is not true. It is not basically true. Because many people take it, they don't go mad. Many of the musicians, I can tell you that many of our artists, about 95%, that's true. And who are the role model for these children? Those musicians. And that's why we need, as parents, to sit down and begin to understand and begin to know what we need to do with our children. It's extremely important. That's why I credit Paul for doing this. This is food for thought. Let us live here and not feel discouraged, but energized to be involved more in the lives of our children and to help them. And then one also that is so common today is prescription drugs. You know why that is fair for? I'm glad my friend is on this, the Professor Okun. We're classmates at IFE, so he knows some of this that I'm talking about. These drugs, let me take the example of tramadol. Tramadol is a drug of prescription. We prescribe it for people who have moderate to severe pains. And you know, if you take it, you'll be okay. But the caveat is you must take it for only a few number of days. But somehow, young people have found a different benefit, in quotes, from tramadol. They call it tramal on the street, or they call it TM. But you know why I need to raise the alarm? And some of you are medical people, we know the tramadol in the hospital is usually comes in dosage of 50 milligrams. But the tramadol that is sold on the street to our young people start from 225 milligrams. 225 milligrams, 250 milligrams, 500 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams. And can I tell you this? Very unfortunately, Nigerians that do go to India or they go to China to get it prepared and they import it. A man imported a consignment about 2 years ago. When it was found at the wharf and counted, they found that the tablets were distributed across the population of Nigeria. Each Nigerian will take 3 tablets. And can I tell you this? If that thing had not been found, within 2 weeks it would have been distributed. And I don't know whether you read last year, there was a man using his house in VGC in Lagos as a warehouse for tramadol. Another man in the same VGC, and I'll come to it when I spoke about methyl crystal. This man was cooking crystal meth in his house in VGC, in the house he lives with his wife and little baby. So he and his domestic servant, we use the kitchen. So what I'm saying is many of these drugs are manufactured in Nigeria. The NDLA has discovered about 30 laboratories in Nigeria that manufacture amphetamines. And people can use a small room to manufacture. It doesn't take much. And that is why we need now to be careful about all these rich people and billionaires also. What did they do for a living? Many of them are doing drugs. 2 days ago, they raided the place in Lekki. When they got there, the owner of the house, who is a dealer, a baron, had run. He wasn't at home. So when he was coming and saw NDLA, he tried to reverse, crushed one of the NDLA agents, crashed into the wall and escaped. But they have sent out a search warrant for him. These are Nigerians that are rich, that we say are rich. That is what they do. Anyway, let me just move on. And then codeine-containing cough syrups. When we began to talk about codeine, that is, some of these were, people were laughing. Until BBC did a documentary, people then saw what the problem was. It's so common. And I tell you, and when I told them, when they banned it, I told them it was the wrong move. Banning it, you are going to make it underground, and people will be using it. Today, if you want to buy codeine, you can get it in a place that recognizes you. They don't sell to everybody. It used to be less than 1,000 naira per bottle, but today they sell it for about 10,000 naira because students buy it to make concoction and they use at parties. I'll come to that. And then you have something they call Refnol. Refnol, if you want to know who takes Refnol, when they open their mouth, the upper part or the lower part of the tongue is blue. That's why they call it blue, Baba blue, or roofie. That is roof of the mouth. They use it, and that is the drug that is called date rape drug. And I want to say to parents and to the school, when you see young people keep their nails long, the tablet is so small they can keep it in between their nails. And when they open drinks for girls at parties, they drop it in. I've said it to many, please tell your daughters, tell your students, when you go to parties, don't eat at the party. Don't drink anything at the party. Eat from your house, drink from your house, and go there and just have fun and go home. Please do not go to the party of a friend, somebody you don't know, because you can't vouch for what is happening at the party. And when they go to parties, don't leave the central place and go to inner rooms. In the inner rooms, terrible things are happening there. Please, the Refnol that I mentioned, if a girl takes it unknowingly, 6-10 men can rape her. She will know she's being raped, but she can't recognize any of them. Those are the reasons why we need to be careful. I've spoken about the amphetamine. Amphetamine is on the street today. And you know one also that should frighten us, particularly for those of us who are doctors. Let us be careful in prescribing injection pentazocine, particularly for sicklers. You know why I'm saying this? Injection methotrexate, they sell it on the street. You can go to any pharmacy and get it. They call it Fortuin. And this drug, when given to a sickler who is in severe pain, in 5 minutes, he will get up and begin to go home because the pains will disappear. But you know what has happened? Because sicklers have been used on sicklers, and they now know the name, they don't come back, they buy it. A young man walked to see me early this year. Before coming to see me, he had used 8 ampoules of injection pentazocine. The father is a medical doctor. The elder brother is a medical doctor. So I'm saying all this, let us not be deluded. Substance abuse does not stay with motor park boys. It's everywhere. Pilots do drugs. Doctors do drugs. We've rehabilitated doctors, nurses, pilots, architects who use drugs. So please don't be deluded. Oh, you can't be my son. It is not true. I'll show you maybe in the course of this presentation or when you ask me a question. Now, let me go to the last one, which you call miscellaneous. And that's why I say we don't call it drug abuse anymore. In that one, there are some called inhalants. Inhalants, the examples of inhalants are the aerosol. Example, methylated spirit, nail polish remover. And then you can see something like glue, rubber, Evostic, petrol. A young girl told me when I spoke in a church, she said to me that her sister, anytime they go to buy petrol, likes to stand by the dispensing point so she can inhale petrol. That's why you see Okada people when they are riding, they will bend over the Okada, they're inhaling petrol. And it says them, if you see many malams who do sobata, they inhale gum. And let me now tell you one that will surprise you. People will go to gutters that have not flowed for a long time. They will collect the residue, put it together, put fire to it, and stand around it and inhale it. The one that will shock you is fumes from pit latrine. Pit latrine. Early in the morning, they will open it and sniff it. So you can begin to imagine. So you can't say, oh, he doesn't have money, he can't buy. He will use the things that are available. I will tell you about some of them in the course of this presentation, how people concoct their own drugs. During the COVID period, we now saw people manufacturing their own drugs in the house. Let me give you an example. Young people have gotten dongoyaro. They'll put it and put methylated spirit on it, and they find that it makes them hard. Somebody would do one time into our center, he would scrape the spirogyra going on the wall and put it in paper and want smoking it, we caught him, we expelled him. You know, so people can sit down and do their own drug without going out. But some people say, oh, my child does not go out. They order it online. They will deliver it to your megad. When you are asleep at night, they give it to the megad go and deliver to your daughter or your son. So let us not be careless at all. Do you know the people who work for you? Do you know your driver? Do you know your megad? Do you know, for instance, in schools, the people who work in the canteen, people who do the laundry, do you know what they do? All the Okadas who ride into your premises, all the Marwa, some of them are carriers of this. Today in Lagos, because I belong to the NDLA Special Purpose Committee, we found that all these people, all these what we call logistic companies, some of them deliver drugs, some of them don't know what they're delivering, or some of them are agents of delivery. So they carry it, they deliver it. A young man who was driving Uber, who was brought by his friends to our program. It was a passenger who introduced him to cocaine, heroin, and that was how he went. So this thing began to live on the street. Anyway, let me go on. And then you go naturally occurring substances. That's why I say these are not drugs. For those who have not done, there's something called Zakami. Zakami is we are analyzing it now in English. Extremely potent with the psychoactive compounds that you have. We are still analyzing it. Then for those of you in the Southwest, I'm sure you have heard about something called gegemu. Gegemu is a plant. It grows behind the house of the house. Sometimes they say it drives snake. If you look at gegemu has rough fruits. But do you know, it was from a university in the Southwest that they told me this about 4 years ago. They said they will pluck the leaves, they will boil it like they boil vegetables, then they will collect the liquid and then be giving it in part. You can't take it neat, it's extremely potent. You can go like that. When they don't have that, they'll get the fruits, they will dry it and grind it and use it as snuff. But those are some of the things I can mention to you at this time. So the next question is, why do people use drugs? Because you may wonder, why do these people use drugs? He's a rich man, he sits down, why will he be using drugs? He's not frustrated, it's not true. I will give you some of the reasons. As you meet a user, the reason is different from the next man. One of them is experimentation. Oh, if you take this thing, it will make you sleep well. If you take it, you can read very well. It can make you play football. You will be able to talk in the midst of people if you are a shy person. Those are some of the lies they tell them. And people will now want to try. Two things can happen. The person can like it and make him truly talk. But the person will say, what nonsense is this? It just disturbed me. I'm not taking it again. Well, you know why this thing, we need to understand the psychology, the physiology of this thing. There's a center of the brain, and there's a hormone in the brain called dopamine, is the hormone of pleasure. If you take anything and you say, oh, I like that, that center has been mediated by dopamine. So it gives you a feeling of pleasure. When normally that is not the thing you ought to, because the way you will know that it is not, if 10 people use it, if only 2 say it does that, then you know that it's not normal. But if everybody says, then you know that's a natural feeling. Like if you take paracetamol, you take away pain. So I want us to begin to understand why people use drugs. Dysfunctional family situation. Parents, when we quarrel before our children, we are causing them emotional turmoil. They retain it. It depends on their makeup. That can be a stimulus to something untoward. Or when we separate, one father is living in Ondo, the mother is living in Abuja, and all those things, it leaves room to carelessness. So when you don't see the boy in Ondo, you say it's with the mother in Abuja, the mother says, it's not, they say, where is he? Then we begin to understand. Escape from reality. Oh, they say, things are too tough, this country is too tough. I just want to cool down. I don't want to be involved. They take it because their friend said that's what he does. There was a girl that was brought to me. The father is a pastor, the mother is a pastor. She started taking drugs at age 12, and she was playing in the choir of the church and instrumental. And the parents never knew until she was about 17. You know, when she was 13, she now told a young man she met on Facebook, an undergraduate, that my mother shouts too much. She will never comment me. She's always shouting, I'm not doing this. And I don't like her shouting. When I don't want to, I drink alcohol. Oh, the boy said alcohol will take you 15 minutes, it will clear your eyes now. Let me show you something that is more potent. You know where they met the next day on the Monday? The church premises of a church in Yaba. The boy introduced this girl to cocaine. The girl started taking cocaine at age 13. The parents still did not know, and they were both pastors. Until the lady now went to the head of the teenager and said, Auntie, there's a problem, I need help. So they brought her to me. But what I want to tell you, for you to know how some parents enable their children without knowing it. When the mother came and they finally brought, the man said, what is this? I began to, I said, Madam, I don't know your house. They brought your daughter to me. And this is, I think, what we should do. She said, okay. She took the daughter away. They never came back. The girl never came for counseling or rehab. 17. The woman left the church and they went to another church. But you know the sad story. The girl started living in the joints. That was what I heard later. At that time, she had gained admission to read banking and finance. Imagine what that has done. A life destroyed. Availability, easy availability. Excuse me. There is no corner of where you live that you will not find any of these things. Some of your megads sell it. The megad on the street. When you want to know, when you see people sitting with the megad, the caliber of people sitting with megad or coming to buy something, you will know that something is happening. You'll be selling Tom Tom, you'll be selling cola nut, all those. Under the table is selling some of these tablets. So we cannot afford to be careless. And these things, the money is coming now. You know, the sachet that I told you before used to be sold for 20 kobo. No, is it, am I correct? 20 kobo, 200 naira or something. And I think it's 20 kobo. Now it's gone up. No, 200 naira is down to 500 naira. For people, that is what they get, first of all, to open the mouth and begin to use. Many of these things is to help the young people to fit in with their friends or with a certain group. Oh, these are happening boys on campus. These are the people that all the girls like. These are the people, and then they want to fit in with them. But this is also coming from home. When people don't have self-esteem, they will attach themselves in order to feel known. Ignorance is another reason. They don't know. Because many of the parents today, they send their children at 14 to university. And I ask them, what are you sending a 14-year-old, 15-year-old to go and do university? You're just sending the boy into a lion's den. They are not mentally mature to deal with the circumstances of what we are seeing today. It is better that we allow these children to evolve. And I don't know whether Hallmark does it. I don't believe in double promotion. It is not true. When people are exceptional, let them go to school, let them go to exceptional things. Don't promote them, because at every age grade, there's a maturity that comes with it. There's an independence that comes with it. There's a thought process that comes with it. When we deny them those opportunities, we are leading them astray. So when they get to a situation, they can't deal with it. If an 18-year-old is in university, if an 18-year-old calls you and go and buy this cigarette, they can't say no. Or come and test this thing, because you see, we are taking it, you are in our midst, you are in a room, you are in a hostel together, you have to take it. What will you do? Will they say no? And they say, don't tell anybody. And so that is why some of the reasons why people do drugs. And so what are the signs we need to look out for? Excuse me, I'm not saying that when you see one of these, it means that they're using drugs. I'm just asking you, would you like to be very observant and be patient and study your children or study your students? That's what I'm saying here today. One of them is red and rheumy eyes. Their eyes will be reddish, particularly with marijuana, or rheumy as if it's discharging water. And you say he has Apollo, be careful. Can I also tell you how smart our young people are becoming? Because they know the eyes can show redness, they will go and buy an eye drop called Vicine. If you apply Vicine to a red eye, it will clear the redness. So the fact that the eyes are not red does not mean the person does not use. Use of strong menthol sweet or perfume, strong perfume, so that it can subsume the smell. But can I tell you something? There are many drugs today that don't have smell. There's a perfumed marijuana that the person can be using in the house will not know, because it's been perfumed. Those are some of the things that people are getting into today and getting smart with it. When the grade is dropping, poor performance in school, somebody is an A grade, you begin to draw, you say something is wrong, interrogate it. And please, can I say to parents, never profile your child and say, this child is stubborn. It's not true. That child is telling you there's a problem. Would you like to look at me? Would you like to be more observant and help me? I need help. Don't say he's stubborn, leave him. No, it's not true. No child is born stubborn. Sometimes circumstances make them behave that way. We need to interrogate it. They want to be alone. No, allow my privacy. As young people, you live in your parents' house, you lock your room, you put your key in the pocket. No. If you want to have your own room, you can keep the key and I can't enter. Go and rent your house. It cannot be, because if you enter that, there was a colleague of mine, a medical doctor, who called me and said, in my cousin's room, this lady has master. She came back from the UK. She was doing drugs in their house. They didn't know. So unfortunately for her, unfortunately for them, the laundryman came and she wasn't at home because somebody should have brought those things out. So they now went to her room. Do you know where she kept her drugs? The basement of the laundry basket. And they did not know. You see, when they want to be alone, lock up there, they say their privacy, be careful. Loud music, all this loud pop music, blah, 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 all this noisy music, be careful. Those are music that speaks to those kind of music. Frequent change of friends. You don't know the friend. This one says my friend today, next week is another friend. there is a problem. There's something going on. Please try to know your children's friends. Let them come to the house. Please, I'm not saying go and do, they call something weekend stay or something. I'm not encouraging it until you know where, you know the parents of those places. You can't trust any home today. Let me give you an example. A woman went to a caterer. The child was going to be 15. She said to the caterer, please bake for my son a birthday cake. But this is marijuana. Could you please put it in the cake? You must say, I can't do it. You have to, my son likes it. A 15-year-old, the mother is saying that. So sometimes don't think that parents don't know that their kids are doing drugs. Sometimes they encourage it, they enable it by their carelessness, by their nonchalance. No, not my child, no, they give him so much. There was a student that they were searching in the university, private university, did ransom search. You know how much they found in his wardrobe? $2 million cash. And I'm not joking, because it was the father of another student in that school who was the boyfriend that told me this. So they called the father. We found so he calls, how did you have 2 million? I didn't know you have as much. What is the meaning of that? What is a student doing with dollars in school? That is enablement. Anyway, let me go on. Loss of interest in surroundings or activities that have been previously engaging. Suddenly they don't like it. They don't like to go with you to church. They don't like to go with you to vigil. Mommy, you know, before you used to sit down together to watch some movies. They say, no, I'm go past that. I'm not saying they can't go, but you must watch it. Why the sudden disdain for what they used to like? Looking unkempt, you see them, the way they dress, they don't see anything wrong with it. You know, these days, we need to be careful with what we are seeing. I see men now wearing earrings. I see all kinds of things that people are allowing. I'm not saying it is not good. If you let your child do it, then you must know your child very well to know the source of why he's doing it. I have seen people in the joint who wear bathroom slippers. He came in suit to go back home. He has sold the suit. He has sold the wristwatch. He has sold everything. He will now go home in, what do you call this thing? Boxers and bathroom slippers. Some of them will wear different brand. Looking on camera, they don't comb their hair, they don't brush, they don't have their bath. Some of them will tell you when we get them off the street, for 1 week, they will not shower. They'll be having Jones withdrawal symptoms. They can't brush. Some of them have not brushed in weeks. They don't even know. Some of them will be smelling. They don't even know. That's why people wonder what I'm praying in their midst. Well, if God has not led someone there, who will help them? And I tell you something, parents and teachers, these are excellent students. I know, I can tell you. Brilliant. But somehow they made the wrong choice. They made the wrong turn. That is not enough reason for us to throw them out. They need our help, support, and love. Let me go on. Some of them wear dark glasses, even within enclosed spaces. They are hiding something. So we need to begin to understand. So, you know, I can say all these things, but what I will end on this note, what can parents do? Hope is not lost. But one thing I want to say, can I beg parents? I say this all the time. Will parents like to be parents again? Many of us have abdicated our responsibilities for economic reasons. We travel all over the world. We run after our position. When you do all this, and when you should be retiring at 60, 65, and you are carrying a 32-year-old son about, what kind of rest can you get? So it's so important that we become parents again. And what do I mean by that? One boy was brought to me many years ago. The mother was the medical director of a teaching hospital. The father, a professor in the university. As they were coming, I could see anger. They came from Calabar. As they sat down, so I asked the mother, he said, doctor, they said, I will come and see you. This. I said, what is the problem? He said, it's about this, my son. You know what the boy did? He shouted on the woman, who is your son? Now you can call me your son. When last did you sit down with me to talk with me? When I come, you say you are going on night duty, you are busy. When I go to my father, you say, can you sit down preparing note to work? He said, so I found friends who had time for me. Today now you are coming here to come and tell stories of what you don't know. I could see anger. So I called him. He burst into tears. I told him, my friend, I don't like you being rude to your parents. They probably have gone wrong, but this is not the way. If you go on this way, you will destroy yourself. Their lives will continue. So he broke down and began to cry. So I advised. But the good story is an engineer today. But not many of them end up like that. But you can hear what the boy said. Now you want to talk to me. Where were you when I was growing up? You were not there. And that is what many parents do. Please, Mrs. Fashoro, insist that men must come for PTA. PTA is not only for women. And men are the culprits here. They don't go. And when it's time for the student to fill JAMB form, they say fill medicine, fill accountancy, fill law, when they don't know the academic strength of their children. When they don't sit down with them, they don't discuss, they think children are, they are not children. No. People will tell me, oh, when they are grown up, I will be their friend. It is too late. If you don't know your child as they are growing up, you cannot see a deviation when it happens. You say, oh, it's stubborn. It's not true. You have neglected your responsibility. Your drivers are the only people carrying them around. You are not there weekdays. When it's weekend, you are there at parties. I don't go to parties. So it's not that I don't like it. For many reasons, I don't go because it's too noisy. When you see your friend of 10 years, you can't talk. There is so much loud noise. Is it food I want to go and eat? I will eat in my house. Most of I don't eat. You see, it's not, I'm not saying people should be like me. But if I don't change today and become crazy because of what the society has become, we will lose our children. I'm telling you, I know it. We started a center in Abeokuta for undergraduates, graduates, professionals, and doctors, and for our workers. Can I tell you, many of the Christian universities send their children to us. We have seen a bank manager, we have seen an architect, we've seen nurses, we've seen doctors. So don't let's be deluded. Some of them will get this in NYC camp if we don't talk to them now. Anyway, let me know just, please be observant of behavioral changes. Dressing, the manner of their dressing, suddenly they will say they are sagging. What is the meaning of sagging? It's only prisoners that sag because they don't allow them to use belt or elastic. What in their talking? Very rude, very abrasive. They will just respond anyhow. When those begin to have all the activities they get involved in, they begin to leave home in the evening and come back late at night. For a child that is still under parental control, why should that be? Be emotionally present in their lives. Please be emotionally present in the lives of these children. And what do I mean by it? Know what is going on in their lives. These children too are going through all kinds of pressure. That's why when they go through bullying at school, they can't tell you because you know what is it? Are you the only student that your brothers went to that school? Why are you saying you can't go? A woman met me. I went to talk last Saturday. A woman came to me. She said, my daughter says she wants to leave the school. The woman did not, you know what the daughter did? She tabulated the reasons why and sent it to her mother on WhatsApp. So the mother should, I say, madam, you better listen to this girl. She's telling you there is trouble and you are saying she shouldn't worry. Go and remove your daughter. She's telling you now, she's just going to GSS 2. Don't sacrifice your daughter. I hope she listened, but she said, thank you. Oh, 10 minutes more, I'm almost done, so don't worry. Encourage family discussions, particularly during prayer times. You know what I'm saying? Please don't just call yourself, I want you to, oh, I'm your father, I know what is good for you. It is not true. You don't know what is good for him. You only pretend to know. You know why I'm saying this? I say to parents, don't force your children to read courses. Well, they should read literature. See, there's no place in the world they don't. His brother, younger brother, taught me dermatology. He was only known in the medical field. But Shoinga is known everywhere. So it is not what you read, it is what you make of what you have read. Onobra Kwemaya is a sculptor. He's one of the richest sculptors in the world. Please, and family discussion is important. Prayer time, have a family altar. Pray together. You know, my daughter told me a week ago, she said, Mommy and Daddy, I'm fasting Tuesday and Friday. I just want you to join me in prayer. And we said, how did it occur to this? We joined her. Because that is the background we must give to them. I'm not saying they should be sleeping in church. But people will say to me, I'm a Christian. How might I take them to church? Are they Christians because you take them to church? No. Please pray fervently for these children. They need our prayers. Pray fervently for them. They can go very good from home. It depends on the friends they meet. Engage them before taking decisions about them. Let them be part of the discussion and then offer them information. Then let them make informed choices. Please do not enable their actions. Please don't. And one thing I want to say, please, I said it before, be present in their lives. Seek help as soon as you need it. Don't pretend. Don't say, no, how would people say? What is the meaning of reputation if you don't do what is necessary for your own children? Everybody is struggling at home. Attend PTA meetings. I'll say it again. Offer support in their moments of need. They have need. Listen to them. And do not compare your children to their siblings or their friends. Each man has a road to travel. Let each man travel the road they want to travel. I thank you for your listening, and I thank you for your invitation to me. And I await your questions or comments, and I'll be delighted to answer them. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Wow. Can we just begin to appreciate Doctor? Please, let's, drop comments in the chat box. My goodness, Doctor. I was just writing and writing. I said, God, I'm so ignorant. Look at all the names. Eja, Efo, Colorado, Arizona, Skunk,
Yes.
Ice. Lord, have mercy on us. Baba Blue, Tramadol. Okay, we know Tramadol, Codeine, Petrol Pits. Unbelievable. Thank you so much, sir, for really opening up, this area that many of us might have been ignorant about onto us. Thank you so very much. So, dear parents, the floor is open for questions. Miss Alabia, we need your help to please look through so that if we see any questions, I think one came in. And if there's any parent that would want to ask the question, verbally, you can just signify, just use the emoji, raise your hand, and then we will ask you to unmute. We also have, it's also streaming on Facebook, and also those joining us on Facebook, please feel free to drop your questions as well. We will be, we will be sure to read out your questions. Is there anybody, Mr. Ajayi, have you, Miss Alabi, have you seen any question? I think there was one I saw. Doctor, there's so much appreciation in the chat box. Thank you, Doctor. You are a blessing to a generation. Thank you for the enlightening expose. Thank you so much. So they can't deceive us anymore. We know all the secrets now. You've taught us all the slangs. Anybody, any question, dear parents? Any question? Okay, you have a question. Olabusola Mary Green Baba today. You want to type or you want to ask? You can unmute if you want to. Let me see if I can locate you. Okay, please unmute. Unmute and ask the question. Olabus, I'm asking you to unmute. Please unmute. Olabusola Mary Queen. Yes, go ahead. Please ask the question.
Good evening, sir. I am actually streaming live here from UK. I got the invitation from a sister whose son is attending homework. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for being part of this wonderful lecture. Thank you, sir. My question is, I have a daughter who is 5 years old now, but I discovered that she's always cracky. Sometimes she wants to be watching some channels, like these kids channels where she learns a lot of some attitude from. So, but at the time I begin to be angry with her. But after this lecture, I think my orientation towards her is going to be changed. Is going to change. So I want you to please, can you just help me, because I noticed the brother is also trying to get that behavior from her. The brother is following her footsteps. He started behaving cracky, crying over little things, and he wants to be watching some movies, some fairy movies, believing in witches, and I would tell her no, but you know, here you cannot beat your child, you can only talk to them, and because if you beat them, they can go to the school and say, my mommy beats me, and it's going to be a problem. So I want you to help me to, if you can just tell me how I can go about it. Though I've been praying, we've been praying, me and my husband have been praying, but you know, I don't know if I can have another approach to it, so that it can influence the brother way and also grow. She's still 5, but this attitude is becoming unbearable for me. So I would appreciate if you can just give me another dimension, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Doctor, should we take the questions maybe 2, 2, 2, so that because of the manage? Yes. Thank you for that question, Olabusola Mary Queen. So we'll take one more. I can see Galaxy A2. Please, if you don't mind, it would be nice to just rename. So I mean, I want to call your device Galaxy A42 5G. I see your hand is up. Yes. You have the floor. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Mausi. I don't know why my name is not coming up. I'm calling from the US. I just want to ask this question. What if that child is adamant? Because a lot of suggestions have been made to him that, okay, let us go to this, let us go to rehab, but he said no, that he will leave it unless, whenever he wished to leave it. I don't know. Right. He is adamant, he doesn't want, and is bringing tears in the heart of the mother. Because I was told, and we were praying, we are doing all sorts, he's the last person everybody in the family expects he will do that. Because he doesn't talk easily. He's quiet type. But thank you, man. It caught everybody on, and we are. Yeah. And he's deteriorating him seriously. He's deteriorating him seriously.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor. You have the floor, sir, for those first 2 questions. Please go ahead.
Let me quickly take this. But let me also say, if not for your own time, you feel constrained, I'm here, I'll be here till when you want me to go. So don't worry about me. I'm okay. You see, let me say something, parents, and I'm glad that I'm talking to parents. I think we left our children too early to fend for themselves emotionally. And we are beginning to see the result. My young is about 5 years old. You see, the challenge you have is the society you live in. Today in the UK, they are beginning to tell children in primary school about gender identification. So when they come, they spend 8 hours in school, they come back. How long do you spend with them to disabuse their mind? You don't have it. This thing is reinforced every day in school. A child said, I'm a cat. Talk to me, I'm a cat. Don't call me another thing. So, I want to beg parents, if you are living there, it's a different thing. But if you are living here, you want to send your children to school abroad, I will say no. I'm not saying it's not good, but let them have the first degree. If you see what is happening to our children in Canada, you will run. Let me leave that. So, madam, what I will tell you is this. I don't think you need to lose hope. I think you now need to be talking to them. There's something about children. If you don't form their mind well, they are like amoeba. They are like this. They can extend, so you need to disabuse their mind. You need to sit down with your daughter, have time for them now. Now talk to me. Don't say, don't watch this, don't do this. No, you will make them watch it. Then you call them. Let's have a discussion. Kule and Ade. I've been worried, your dad and I have been worried about this. Why do you like it? Why is it? And if I can watch it, sit down now, how do you like this? What does it tell you? What does it, that is the way to start. If you start with don't, they will do it. Because they see somebody in school brings it to class and they watch it during break time. And that is how this thing starts. And when they start it and they just get some benefit, because they are alone, also at home, they will find something to occupy them. I'm not blaming you, but I think you need to parenting style again. Spend time. Don't come like, oh, we are parents. Parents don't know everything, but not in these days. We need to understand. Dr. Kolade taught us something. Seek ye first to understand before you are understood. I'm your father, I'm your father. They know, but let them understand your role. We should be the primary role models for these children. If we do that, I'm not saying this can change it, but you have to be consistent with this step. You have to be consistent. You have to, don't fall apart. Don't shout. Be moderate. Let God direct you in how to handle it. But it's not about blaming them or shouting on them. God will help you. As the person about, and some about being adamant, I guess this person is already beyond 18, 20, and the rest. He will be adamant because he was left at the time that he needed help. So now everybody is preaching to him that you are becoming a trouble person. We can change the tide. The thing is, there somebody who is very close to this young man who can speak to him in a language that you understand, not in a, many times we are too accusatory, we are too judgmental. I'm a pastor. How can the son of a pastor be like the who says, Eli was a pastor. Ophni and Phinehas were nothing. Samuel was a pastor. So it doesn't follow. It is us that will then create a home that we want with our children. It is not by outside training. So we sit down with this young man. Young man, we love you deeply. Something is going wrong in your life that we don't understand. When you are like that, you first of all say, what is it? What is it that you are saying? Leave me there, there's nothing. It will go. But when you continue and then one night it will come. Look, we want to help you. We know there's an issue here. We want to help you. We're not going to accuse you. We know something is happening. You are our son. No matter what happens to you, you remain our son. We can't throw you out, but can we help you? What exactly? Who of the two parents is close to him? Who of the family member can talk to him? But not in a judgmental fashion, not in anything. But this fact that you say nobody expected it, because maybe it was brilliant, it was this, everybody left him. There's something that parents do. Parents focus on girls. Oh, this is how a girl sits down. This is how he eats. This is how she cooks in the kitchen. What makes the boys alien to training? You forget that if you train your girls very well, you go and marry a ruffian that nobody trained. Domestic abuse will start. So they must be treated in the same way. A boy cooks, it doesn't kill him. He can do this just as the girl can. So we must know there's no gender differentiation when it comes to responsibility, domestic responsibilities. Let us start anew. Let us discover our children. Many of us tonight should go back. First of all, pray with our spouses and go to our children and call a family meeting. In ways in which you have offended, you will feel bad. They will look and say, what is wrong with daddy? What is wrong with mommy? But don't worry. It will pay on the long run. They will then say, they will then rethink. We will rethink. I'm not saying he walks all the ways, but give it a shot. Those would be my answers.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Wow. Awesome, awesome. Some of us need to go and repent again. The shouting, especially the shouting part. All right, we have a question in the chat box, and it says, how can a child of 25 years who is addicted to drugs be rehabilitated? I think another question had come up, that resources that can help. And then let's also hear from Adebayo or Obafemi so that we'll take the questions together. So how can a 25-year-old child be rehabilitated? And then Adebayo, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, please, I enjoyed your message and your teaching and everything. But I just want to ask a question on two families. One is my uncle and one is my friend. The one of my uncle, he smokes. The children know that he smokes. And then secretly, the children have been smoking too. So now the teaching is based on parents trying to guide them. Then we will then talk to these children. Then my second uncle, that one drinks like alcohol, as you have talked about, because we know the reason why he's taking it. I don't know, maybe doctor recommended it for him because he keeps on saying it. That doctor recommended taking of alcohol to him, maybe to cure some ailments in his life or whatever. And he has been saying it to the hearing of the children. But we don't know whether the children they do drink. But there was a time I was there. One of the sons took one of the alcohol, like spirits, and he was taking it to school. But the last child opened up the secret that they should check under his suit that there is alcohol there. There is a drink that he's taking to school. So I was there that day. So then when we talk to these children, will it be the school, the church, or the society? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. As to the rehabilitation, if it was when I was still in CADAM, I would say they can come to the office. But I don't know how the people can do it. There are some centers where they can go for rehabilitation. But again, I'm very careful with rehabilitation. In some of these rehabilitation centers, people come out worse because they learn more, because people who work there smuggle drugs to the place. So it's a challenge today about rehab. I know when I was in CADAM, we were very strict because it was faith-based. And so we were very careful. We knew these things happen. So we screen our staff. We know that they live amongst them. So if you go out and come back, we know their peculiarities. And when we were taking them, we knew them. So I don't know how many centers are that particular, but I can tell that many centers, there are some centers in Lagos, Synapse, Tranquil and Quest, Cottage Clinic, but they charge about, what I want to say is this. There are centers where they can get rehabilitated. I've just mentioned some, but they're pretty expensive, at least $1 million a month.
You are muted again, sir.
The center in Abek. Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir. Please go ahead.
I'm sorry. I know the person that's trying to call me is coming from Bonny. I'm sure it's about rehabilitation. You see, the thing is, there's one in Abeokuta called Penny Place. That person charges $750. What I'm mentioning is also faith-based. She's just started. So if you go and Google some of these things, you can get this. But again, there's something about rehabilitation. The person must be willing. You can't force a person to rehabilitation. If you force him, he will go because of your promises. If you go, we send you to the UK, you will do this. If he comes back, he will continue. So the person, you must sit down with him, get him convinced that he needs help. Then you can send him to rehab. About the smoking and alcohol, I said something during the presentation. Parents must be the primary role model. You see, we are imposing too much responsibility on schools. How long do they spend in school? They were molded at home. You are bringing them to another. They only listen to the school. When they go back, they do what they see. A parent came to me, she had 2 sons. She talked to me that they were taking marijuana, so I counseled them. They said they were willing to stop. You know what then scared me? The mother told them to go to the guy and said, doctor, but their father smokes. I said, you should have told me from the beginning, because obviously I was wasting my time. Because if I tell this young man smoking and drinking, that is not good, he said, my father does it. He's not dead. He's still there. And you are telling me, they will just laugh and begin to do it. Those parents must stop. And then when they stop, they must come back to their children and say, I stopped for this reason. This thing, I see that is destroying me, and I see that you want to take it. It is not good. I've stopped because, when Ransom Kuti became Minister for Health, he stopped smoking. And that's your example. So those parents must. And what is a man doing with spirit in his house if he has alcohol and you don't want people to drink it? Spirits don't drink alcohol, human beings do. So don't stock it. Don't offer your friends when they come. Let people know what you stand for. It's not because you are a pastor or a Christian, but it's just your way of saying, I will do it. It's not that I'm bragging. I've never smoked in my life. I've never drank. Maybe that's one of the reasons God helped me with these people. So they wonder how a person who has not gone through this can care so much about them. Please tell those parents, if they don't want their children to be wayward, because they will start, cigarette is a gateway, alcohol is a gateway. After a while, the benefits that they get from alcohol or cigarette will not be there, they will step up. Please, there's no other way. It cannot be the church stepping in. They will say that they're going to tell their pastor is preaching. Let the parents sit them down. I've stopped drinking because of you and because of what it's doing to me. And let me give you an example. A father was an alcoholic. He had 2 sons. One was drinking like his father. One became the MD of a company. So they interviewed them. One that was drinking said, I saw my father drinking, so I did something wrong with it. He also became an alcoholic. The MD said, I saw the dangers of drinking from what he did to my father. So I said to myself, I will never drink. If we let them see, let them make the choice. Don't force them or let them know. And don't say it's because you go to hell, because it's not true. They will say to you that if I go to hell, I will meet fella or I meet this person that will drink. So what is the difference? Let me do what I want to do now. Please, I think with your attitude must change the way we relate with our children. It is not like it used to be with us. Sit down there. You can't tell a child to sit down till they say, wow. So you must be able to have reasons for why you are offering the advice. Let it be an advice, let it be an instruction. I hope that helps.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doctor. Our time is fast spent. Maybe we'll just take one more. Okay, there's a question in the chat box. Someone said, Shegodo, please forgive me if I didn't pronounce that correctly, says, where children are caught by a third party, taking Indian hemp, and the church or teen teachers are alerted, how can the parents be approached to help them know how to handle the children? So it could be in any situation. Maybe you see your neighbor's children smoking, you see some children. How do we approach the parents? So in the absence of, is there any other question? We'll just take one more with that so that we can begin to round up. Any other question? Anybody else?
Yes, I have one, ma.
Okay, I'm trying to locate who is speaking. Please, can you introduce yourself and just ask your question?
Yeah, this Miss Alabima. I have one question.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Read it out. Yes.
Okay. So, the question says, how do we blend cultural, social, and spiritual discipline with global trends on children and teens' rights? Did you get that, sir?
No, I didn't. I think my earpiece has failed or something, or the volume. Let me just check the volume. Okay, go on, please.
Okay, sir.
What's
okay,
the
question is, how do we blend cultural, social, and spiritual discipline with global trends on children and teens' rights?
Good.
How do we have a balance? How do we blend?
Good. I'm glad about that question. Right, thank you. Let me start with the neighbors. You know, I know teachers, schools, parents say this. It takes a whole village to train a child. That was yesterday. Today, schools even find it difficult to discipline their students. Some schools, because these schools they are very rich parents, and then when they then come and beat up the teacher or come and harass the teacher. I hope Hallmark will not allow those kind of parents. When they are, tell them to carry their children to where they can.
You are muted, sir.
Calling me and interrupting me. Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes.
Please go ahead. You are muted again. Wow.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can now. We can hear you.
Oh, Lord. My phone is just, you know, the thing is, please know your neighbors, know the extent of your involvement. The thing you can do is, some parents don't like you to come and tell them their kids are doing wrong. Know them. If the only thing you can do is, if they're close to you, don't say, I noticed your son. You just say, Madam, let's begin from this society today. One cannot be too sure the way the young people are going now. You mentioned the area where you have seen about some of these boys, you just see them around the city, particularly in this place, that then the woman may say, my son goes there. So when she gives you a leeway to say more, say it. But if you cannot, be very careful, because then you become an enmity. Don't go to their house. But again, how neighborly are we today? Is it only when the children do wrong that we tell them about their children? Or do we also commend them that, I saw your son, he helped me to carry my load? You see, when you have that kind of balance, it's easy to intervene. If you don't have a balance, please do not venture to. You may look for somebody who's very close to them and say. But if you're also close to the young man, you can call yourself Shegun, where I'm saying you these days, because I don't like it. I like that I don't like some of the boys you move with. It's because of your relationship. If you don't have it, please don't try it. As for the balance, let me tell you where I like the question. That is the danger we face today. The danger of the new trend. But go and read the Bible in first, I think it's first, I forgot now, First John, I think chapter 5 or so. All these types, their styles, they come and go. If we allow our life to be dictated from outside, we will pay for it. Groom your own children. Who decides about culture? Who decides about trend? Is it not the society? One thing we must do, the society should be a support system, but it's becoming a danger. Insulate your children. You can't take them out of the society, but it is the upbringing you give to them. Let them know that when I was growing up, when we were growing up, my dad was a banker. If he closed, there will be something, they will sit down with us. What stories will he be telling us? The stories of when he was growing up. When you see things, people be selling on the road, there's nobody who stays there, they put money. He was teaching us about values. The value system in our country today is gone to the door. Even abroad is worse. So we need to be careful the kind of training we give to our children. Do not go by the word and say balance between what do you want? What do you want for your family? So that when you have filled your children with that, when they go out, the Bible says when you train the child the way to go, when he's grown up, he will not depart from it. He will see. That's why some of our children come out with it. It's good today, come and sit up at school, and this one. It's because they are seeing it, and what is happening is they are giving a reflection of the training you gave to them. That is why they can tell you. And the other thing is, somebody say parents need to be firm. When you say parents need to be firm, I say this. Husband and wife must have the same direction about the training of their children. My wife told me one thing one day. Before I got back, she had scolded my daughter, she was crying. So as I walked in, the daughter who was keeping quiet before now began to cry. She cried. So I said, my wife called me and said, Dogsy, never again countermand what I have done. Because when you do it, she will think she can find solace with you when I tell her she's done wrong. So we're on the same page. When I say that I can't take what she's doing, I'll go to the room upstairs. So when they have sorted themselves out, our both of them will play again. Because if parents don't speak with the same voice, there's a danger. They will pick the one they choose that allows them the licentious life they want. So parents must know what kind of home do you want. There's no book where you can read about parents. They can write, they are writing their experience. Write your own experience. Take your own background from where you are coming from, where your husband is coming from. Understand all this and mold it and give it to your children. But it must be the matter of discussion. It must not be in the mode of instruction or order or authority. It can't work. Wow. So please, about culture, let us be careful. What is the meaning of culture? You know, today there are all kinds of gender abroad, binary, X. What is the meaning of that? When Bible tells that only man and woman. So we need to be very careful. And we must not begin to, we must educate our children the way the world. So please, I'm asking you, develop the home that you want and give it to your children. That would be my answer to that.
All right. Thank you so very much, sir. I think we need to call it a day now. I see many questions. Yes, we'll be getting the recording as long as you drop your email address. Parents of all mark, we would also be sharing it, but as many as are interested, please drop your email addresses in the chat box. I will be sure to do that. So thank you very much, Doctor. We'll take the vote of thanks later, but thank you so much for enlightening us, opening our eyes to the realities of what is going there. And we want to celebrate you for the great work God has been using you to do. I used to wonder that, what is this man doing? What is this man doing here? We want to appreciate you for the good work you've been doing, you know, helping to rehabilitate and create that awareness on the challenges of drug abuse in our society. And so, Ms. Alabi, I hand over to you so that we can have the next quickly. And then we have our parents forum chairman, is also a medical doctor. So I'm sure we would also like to hear from him, maybe give you some closing remarks, and then we can call it a day. Ms. Alabi, are you ready for us, or should I go on? Is Dr.
I'm ready.
Okay, yes, so over to you.
Okay, thank you so very much, sir. We appreciate you. Sure, I'm not sure I think most of our parents have asked questions. I don't know if we see our parents who has one or two.
I think we're done with questions. Oh, okay. Please go on.
Okay.
Go on.
So we'd like to just welcome the Parent Teachers Forum of Allmark Secondary School Chairman, Dr. Olubusayo Modupe, the Director of Schemes, University of Medical Sciences, Ondo, in Ondo State. Please make welcome Dr. Olubusayo Modupe for his charge and speech.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm not to give a vote of thanks, but I must thank our resource person, that's Dr. Dokun Adedeji, for that good work. Then for parents, it's so important this age and time that we know and understand our children. A lot is really happening. If we all remember our old faithful Benylin with codeine, old faithful Benylin with codeine, their children are abusing it. And naturally, you think they are just taking it because of cough, whereas it's because of the codeine in it. And so we just need to get close. And that's just the solution. Get close to our children. Let's be their friend. Let's know what they are doing at a time. We need to know their friends. It's not that we want to pick for them. Who are your friends? So if I know your friend, then I can research on the friend. You know, this is not the kind of person our children should work with. So it's very important for us as children to know our children very well. Be their friends. Let us be the first person they want to ask questions from. And I know God that has given them to us will also empower us and enable us to get them to a stage that they will continually bring glory and honor to God's name, and also bring glory and honor to our own name. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's appreciate our Parents Teachers Forum Chairman, Dr. Modupe. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your charge. Okay, so dear parents, we're gradually coming to the end of the program today. So where's Miss Alabi? Where's Miss Alabi? Oh?
He's here, ma'am.
Yeah,
Alabi is here, ma'am.
Okay, so over to you, so that we can, I think we need a charge from, maybe a parent wants to say something, and then our principal will, so over to you.
Okay, thank you so very much, Ma. We'd like to welcome response from parents. If you have one or two things to say before we finally round off the meeting. Okay, do we have anyone like that?
Okay, I think, I'm not sure. I think, okay. I think maybe we've said a lot. We've had a lot of comments in the chat box anyway. So Principal, can you take us through this, sir? Principal, we didn't see your face last time, sir. We want to see your face.
Let me use this opportunity to appreciate the guest speaker, Dr. Dokun. We are not expecting anything less. In fact, I thought I know so much. Today I've added to my wealth of experience in this area. Thank you very much. Personally, I've gained a lot. And I also want to thank our parents who have spared their time, their resources, and non-parents too, joining all over the world. I can see the participation almost 100%, over 100 participants. This is laudable. This is, I can promise you that we are going to sustain this program. And I know it's very enriching and very beneficial to all. Thank you very much. And in Allmark, I'm telling you, we are doing a whole lot. And the speaker said in Allmark, we don't promote our children anyhow. But you have to mature. We don't do double promotion at all. So by the time our children are leaving for university, they are psychologically matured, spiritually matured, and emotionally matured. And that's our watchword and our motto of the school. So thank you very much. Dr. Mudupe, we appreciate you too. That's our chairman. God bless you. I cannot but appreciate our executive director, Mrs. Omokorede Fashoro. She's the brain behind all of this thing. We appreciate you, ma'am, for your efforts. She's always behind the scene, pushing us to do the needful part-time. Thank you very much. And I cannot but also mention our mama, the proprietor of the school. She's with us also in the spirit. She's aware of this program. Mama is hale and healthy, always pushing us to do even things that will benefit all and sundry. Thank you very much, ma, and all the parents present. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you to our dear principal, Dr. Babalola Ojetunde. When I call him doctor, I say that one is not, it is not borrowed. It's doctor that is earned. Okay, I think we will call it. I thought you were going to talk about your school. Well, we have our e-flyer on the screen. So especially for parents in diaspora, if you want a safe place for your children, where they are taught godly principles, where there's discipline, the proprietress is still very much alive at 85, and she's still very present. So you can imagine the kind of discipline that our children have. By His grace, 4 of my children, passed through all my father. The 5th one is also there. Many of us have such testimonies. So please reach out to us if you would like to find out more. Admissions are ongoing. We still have a supplementary admission. And if it is a coming session, you can go to our website, www.hallmarksecondary.school.com. And wherever you are in Nigeria, wherever you are in the world, we had children from Canada, from Britain, from America, because parents want a safe haven for their children where they can be taught the right values and not be corrupted by what is out there. And even here in Nigeria, and our fees are very affordable for the quality and standard that we have. We are an award-winning school. You can check out our website to know more about us. So, as the principal has said, we want to say a very big thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please, can we put some comments in the chat box? Let's appreciate our speaker once again. Let's appreciate him once again. Doctor, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, so very much. For the very, I'm not seeing comments in the chat box. Please, let's appreciate Dr. Dokun Adedeji once again. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you also all our wonderful parents and friends and well-wishers that have joined us today. God bless you mightily. This is an annual event. By God's grace, next year, we will be bringing up, except God says we should be doing it timely, we'll be bringing up another very impactful topic for us to talk about. God bless you. So we would like to invite one of our parents to please give us the closing prayer. I can see another one of our parents, a doctor here. Dr. Banji Olowoshusi, can you speak, sir, where you are? If you don't mind, sir. I'm sorry I put you on the spot. I hope you are not in the ward. Maybe you can give us the closing prayers. Is he able to speak? Or
yes,
principal?
thank
Okay,
you very much.
Thank
you very much, ma. So can we just pray now? Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for this enlightening seminar that we have had, even to assist us to make the life of our children better. Thank you for the life of our speaker. Thank you for how you have helped him. Lord, we return all glory and honor unto you in the name of Jesus. Amen. And so, Father, we commit our parents unto you, that you will give us the grace to ensure that our responsibility that we and make our children better in the name of Jesus. Amen. Let your hand rest upon every one of us and make even hallmark to continue to move forward and forward in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, Heavenly Father. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all very much, our dear parents and well-wishers. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Please take good care of our children at home. Please take good care. We've learned so much today before we resume. God bless you.